In the dense, unforgiving jungles of Colombia, an extraordinary story of endurance, political intrigue, and daring rescue unfolded over 6 grueling years. This is the story of Ingrid Betancourt, a Colombian politician whose kidnapping by the FARC, Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, and subsequent rescue captivated the world. Chapter 1. The Abduction. On February 23, 2002, Ingrid Betancourt, a former senator and presidential candidate known for her fierce stance against corruption, embarked on a campaign trip to San Vicente del Caguán. Despite warnings of escalating FARC activity in the region, Betancourt, driven by her commitment to peace and reform, decided to proceed. As her convoy approached a FARC checkpoint on a remote jungle road, the atmosphere grew tense. Armed guerrillas emerged from the underbrush, their faces masked and their guns ready. Betancourt's heart pounded as the reality of the situation set in. The soldiers around her were quickly overpowered, and she, along with her campaign manager, Clara Rojas, was taken hostage. Chapter 2. The Jungle Prison. Betancourt was thrust into a world of hardship and isolation. Deep within the Amazon rainforest, she and other hostages were constantly on the move to evade the military. They endured squalid conditions, with little food, no medical care, and the ever-present threat of violence. The guerrillas used the hostages as bargaining chips, hoping to exchange them for imprisoned FARC members. Betancourt's spirit was tested daily. She maintained her resolve by keeping a diary, recording her thoughts and the brutal reality of captivity. Her once vibrant political career seemed a distant memory, replaced by the struggle to survive. Chapter 3. The World Reacts. News of Betancourt's kidnapping spread rapidly, sparking international outrage. Her family tirelessly campaigned for her release, bringing global attention to her plight. Protests erupted across Colombia, and international figures, including French President Nicolas Sarkozy, called for her immediate release. Despite the pressure, the FARC remained unyielding. Betancourt's family, particularly her mother, Yolanda Pulicio, and her children, Astrid and Lorenzo, refused to give up hope. They tirelessly advocated for her, meeting with world leaders and mobilizing support across the globe. Chapter 4. The Long Years. The years dragged on. Betancourt's health deteriorated, and the psychological toll of captivity weighed heavily on her. She formed bonds with other hostages, including Clara Rojas and American contractors Mark Gonsalves, Keith Stansel, and Thomas Howes. Together, they faced the harsh conditions and the constant threat of death. Betancourt's resilience shone through. She held on to the hope of rescue, even as escape attempts failed and morale plummeted. The hostages were moved frequently, subjected to harsh jungle conditions and the whims of their captors. They endured the agony of missed family milestones and the uncertainty of their fate. Chapter 5. Operation Jaque. By 2008, the Colombian government, led by President Álvaro Uribe, had intensified its efforts to combat the FARC. Intelligence agencies worked tirelessly to locate the hostages. After years of gathering information and careful planning, a daring rescue operation, codenamed Operation Jaque, was devised. The plan was audacious. Colombian military intelligence had infiltrated the FARC's communications and devised a ruse. They convinced the guerrillas that high-ranking FARC commanders had ordered the hostages to be moved to another location by helicopter. This was a bold gamble that relied on precise timing and absolute secrecy. Chapter 6. The Rescue. On July 2, 2008, the operation was set in motion. Disguised as FARC rebels, members of the Colombian military landed in the jungle in a seemingly civilian helicopter. The unsuspecting guerrillas, believing the ruse, brought Betancourt and 14 other hostages to the landing site. Betancourt, emaciated and weary, boarded the helicopter with trepidation. As the helicopter lifted off, the atmosphere inside shifted. The soldiers revealed their true identities, shouting, "We are the Colombian army, and you are free." Tears streamed down Betancourt's face as the realization of her liberation sunk in. The hostages embraced, their nightmare finally over. The helicopter's departure marked the culmination of years of suffering, endurance, and unwavering hope. Chapter 7. The Aftermath. The world watched in awe as Betancourt and her fellow hostages returned to freedom. Her ordeal had come to symbolize the resilience of the human spirit against unimaginable odds. Betancourt's release was celebrated across Colombia and the world, a triumph of justice and perseverance. Ingrid Betancourt's story did not end with her rescue. She became a symbol of hope and resilience, continuing to advocate for peace and human rights. Her experience highlighted the brutal reality of Colombia's conflict and the strength required to survive it.